put you on the spot,
Feeling.
but I wanted to.
Yeah, it's good. It's good, because I don't really know what's happening. Maybe I'll clarify what's happening, because I really don't know. Just feeling a lot of emotional, just stuff, just in the last hour or so, a lot of, just feeling a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Feeling appreciation, feeling that stories, the story about,
There's no reason to hold any of it back, and that's the great good news. That's why we're here. I just want it right. Yeah. That's the dream, that we need to know what that is. I think there's just like a certain kind of, I don't know what you want to call it, I'll call it maturity, that it just doesn't matter. It's just something that is, it's those deep pockets, and they're being illuminated with your own nature, and they're permeating it, and then it just, And I have a friend who's a Chinese medicine person. She called, it's the vaporization of phlegm. That's what it is. That's all it is. This love it vaporizes everything that it's not. And phlegm is that stuff, that's the sticky stuff, right? It just hangs out. And you don't even know what it is, because, we're functional people, we're doing good things in the world, having all these, we pay our bills on time. We're these good people. And yet there are these pockets. And they usually don't get illuminated until there's a certain maturity. And that's when the nitty-gritty really starts to happen. And that's where a lot of people jump off the train. I don't know how they do it, but I've observed it a lot. And it's okay. I think it's because it can be pretty nitty-gritty. But what you find is when these just can pour out like this, and you don't have to grab it, you don't have to think about it, you don't have to, and if informing happens, great. If not, great. And it's thank you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
I don't need to know.
You don't have to know. You've got a really sharp mind, and you probably want to. But, sometimes it comes up and sometimes it doesn't. All you know is something has been vaporized, transmuted, freed. It doesn't exist anymore. That's what you know. And I'm sure, because you're very, very sensitive, you're sensing what's happening on the planet now. It's like gone up, 1,000-fold. This fire of awareness, this bright light. And it's a grace. But we may not always be able to function in this calm, cool, collective way that we have identified ourselves to be. Do you hear what I'm saying? We may be vulnerable, we may not be on top of it, we may be authentic. And I don't mean indulgent, you know what I mean. So, sometimes, I always call it the second day of the retreat, that's what happens 9 times out of 10, stuff comes up. Because we've abided in this rich field long enough that it's just like the conversation with Ellen, it just, on its own, that's what it does. It goes in and it permeates and it opens it up and it frees it. It's the function. That's why it's helpful just to kind of know how it functions. I don't know why it's all been so hidden.
So I don't have to figure out what it's, I don't have to figure out what it's about. I don't have to,
Absolutely.
I know,
Well, you may have some
A sense of
insight,
yeah,
some
a
sense
little
of it, and when I say it can inform by bringing awareness, or awareness is permeating this that has not been made conscious. With it is often insight and informing. You go, oh, or maybe there'll be like flashes of memory, like frames in a film, and you'll remember something that had been totally hidden. So it isn't just sensation, but sometimes it is. But if the mind is trying to grab it, what that usually signifies is that's your safety valve. Because if the mind can get on it and figure it out, then she's safe, right? So it's a subtle coping mechanism in most cases. And you're sincere, you really want to see it, and you really want to know it. But it isn't it's just opening to it. And then it just happens. But it also helps is to have that open attention. And then all can happen. Well-being, arising, identity, memory. It all is happening at the same time. Because the vast family of being can hold it all. And then there's a lot of suffering. Like there's only no suffering. I mean, pain. There's no suffering. See the difference? Suffering is only takes someone to suffer. So yeah, do whatever helps you to be open to this. I mean, you're safe here, right? There's nothing else you need to do, nothing else that needs to happen. You're comfortable with the liberation process and the heart and the works. But this is getting down to I had a meditation teacher call it the reptilian brain part. Where do you feel in your body most?
The sensation in my heart, the sensation in my lower shoulders.
They're two very intimate and connected chakras.
The story that brought me was a story. I know that. I know I've seen that. I know that just hearing it talked about. I think I don't know if it's amazement, but also combined with a little bit of fear almost. Not really.
Well, I understand that. Because where she is, there is no personal preference, control, nothing. It's all been opened and emptied out. And because of the, I don't know quite the right word, but she holds, she certainly is, silent is her ground and it's quite awake, but a little bit of her emphasis or focus is the love expression, right? So everything is about giving to the other, serving the whole. There's not one moment in that life that is not doing that. So that frightens the hell out of us. You know, here, there was, the love was just so brilliant. And I think I shared that, and it just showed up those places of self-centeredness and selfishness and boundaries and holding it back. But it didn't do so in the quality of judgment at all.
Mm-hmm.
It was just so loving and so brilliant, it just showed up. It was like, oh, is that right? So I understand a fear response. Because everything is given as to them. Packing a little like, sorry, I'm going out in the Indian heat in the middle of the summer and hauling sand. I hope my Dharma doesn't do that, frankly, but it may. And then that's the most loving, most profound, most wonderful, beautiful thing that could happen, because that's how it's moving.
Yeah, and of course it's what I want. You know,
Exactly. But it's just freeing up those places of boundary.
Yeah.
Boundary
And I'm
means
feeling that too.
boundary means protection.
Mm-hmm.
Boundary means trying to take care of oneself in the best way that they know how to do that. That's why I think that it's a lot of BS, you know, spiritual people get really heavy into, oh, I'm just laying down a boundary. Well, you know, you can say yes or you can say no, but laying down a boundary is just a sophisticated kind of a thing of defense. Do you hear what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
I know that's not a popular viewpoint. A lot of people are, a lot of Sanghas are really into that. Again, you can say no. You can say yes.
There's something
That's
more
different.
tangible, there's a little different
It's quite
take
different.
on boundary.
It's quite different.
It's very cut and dry.
Well, it's a defense.
It depends.
You know, it's attempting to put down a boundary, which a boundary is like a fence or a dam or, you know, something. That doesn't, then it creates an illusory dividing point in that that's undivided. Right? You're going to divide up what? It's undivided. I mean, that's why she can do what she does. Because there's nothing in there that's constricting or slowing that down or altering the reality, which is this unbound and undivided. Its nature is undivided. But yeah, it certainly did that for me. It brought up certain self-centered viewpoints. And I don't mean negatively, or there was no judgment. It was just, I could see it was born out of a self-centered quality.
That's coming up here too.
Yeah. It's perfect to see.
The boundaries, I think it's a very clear difference for me when it's happening and it's not.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, again, I loved how Alan said that, because it's the truth. You can't help it. It isn't like you can just go, stop it. Because that's what's being triggered. So hopefully at the time, one can see it as awareness. If one can't, then as soon as possible, see it. That's it. That's the medicine. And then the other is turn towards that as awareness and be genuinely interested in what that boundary or that difference has to say and what it means. And then pull it through and through and through. And listen until it's done. And then that boundary no longer exists. And you can still say no. Or I have a preference like this. But if the outcome is different, who's in there that's quibbling and holding on to the opinion? That's what you really start to see, my friend. Because there's no body there that has to hold on to that. And at the same time, as a human being, there's going to be preferences, there's going to be neuroses, there's going to be, you're going to be an ass. And then that passes. Because there's no one in there that identifies and holds on to. Again, that space that everything can be contained. And I'm not talking about self-indulgence. I couldn't believe, when I really kind of got out into the satsang world of how that interpretation was. I don't know if it's true in California. Of, well, anything is okay, man. You can do whatever you want. Because, it's all just God doing its thing. I was just like, what? What a strange interpretation. So I'm not speaking of that. But it'll arise, and then it goes down. And it's clean, because there's no one in there. If it's not clean, turn towards it until it's free. It's that simple. You just start moving through life like that. And there's no one in there that needs to figure it out. And if it will give some kind of unfolding, fantastic. It's fun. I remember when I was this, and then you can tell your friend, or you can tell John, you can hang out and talk about it. And it's fun. Doesn't mean anything. It's like reporting a story that you read. And it's okay. It's fun. It's a shame. This isn't true. That's okay too. Sometimes people, when they say, well, it's not true, and so then they deny the story that's trying to reveal itself. So that's another mind stance. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Oh, well, it's just a story. Well, that's what's coming up now. That's what's coming up now. I was noticing, even though we have other people that are doing different things, and so you're puttering around and cutting things up, and I'm kind of puttering around and cutting for something like that. The women of the household, they're trying to, it's sweet.